Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, it is I am the one and only Maxi here, and I am back for yet again for the likes of the Maxi Toys videos here. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more of Let's Play of Super Mario 3D All-Stars while we play through Super Mario Galaxy for the Nintendo Switch. So, I believe last time we have basically managed able to gather the rest of the remainings of those Power Stars in Mario's playthrough, because the reason why I pointed things out is because, well, much like the original Wii version of the game, after you collect 120 Power Stars and beat Bowser for, well, let's just say, technically speaking, the final battle for the second time as Mario. And as a result, when you see the special ending, where basically you're able to actually unlock yourself Luigi as a playable character. So because of that though, yeah, you get the idea. You basically go for the exactly the same game again, except this time you play as Luigi the whole way through. And another thing is worth noting for is the fact that you don't able to actually start the adventure off by able to actually go for the Star Festival, so instead, you immediately onto the forms of the Gateway Galaxy from the get-go. So because of that though, yeah, it's pretty much exactly the same, so except the fact that, you know, we're playing as the Green Plumber, of course. So either way though, hopefully we'll try to do the exactly the same ordeal as the forms of how it does it on the Mario's playthrough, that basically I'll be able to gather every single Power Stars as much as I can. So because of that though, yeah, this is the reason why that this particular playthrough might take a bit of a while to finish, just because of this particular game. So, because obviously we're now going to be able to move on to technically the second playthrough of the final game of this entire compilation before you're able to, well, suffice to say, take a break on the 3D Mario games for a very long while. So either way though, because as a result we might as well able to figure that we might as well able to tackle through other series of gaming for something new, something different, and even especially noticeable with sub-series for the sake of the forms of, you know, RPG genres, as well as the forms of, well, specifically, a lot of emphasis on Zelda stuff, and also a lot of Metroid stuff here and there. So, relatively speaking though, there's not much right to home about. So, either way though, and as you can tell, I'm going to be skipping some in-game text boxes here and there, because, well, relatively speaking, the actual, dialogue for certain characters is exactly identical to the forms of how it does it on the Mario's counterpart, except the fact that eventually later on though, that someone will able to actually say someone a little bit differently, like, you know, saying Luigi's name and stuff like that. So, yeah, you get the idea about that. So it looks like we've meet up with Rosalina once again, except the fact that we're playing as Luigi, of course, so again, not much else to say for this point right here. So, yeah, today's date is, of course, the 30th of September today, in this case in 2022 today, and it looks like about the fact the matter is, though, this is the final day of September for the sake of this year. So, because of that, we're about to be moving on to the 10th month of 2022, which I'm very looking forward to. I must be honest here, mainly because of the forms of something coming out for it. To be more specifically, Mario Plus Rapid Sparks of Hope, which I was very excited about, especially noticeable because that game usually takes place in somewhere in the space and galaxies and stuff like that. Just get it, because we're playing Super Mario Galaxy, or technically speaking, Super Luigi Galaxy, so because of that though, we are going to be able to explore into several planets or galaxies, and you name the rest. So, and of course, if you ever played the original Wii version of the game before, basically though, that about the fact that Luigi can jump higher than the forms of how it does it for Mario, and of course, you can never forget the forms of that slippery, awful traction. So because of that though, especially noticeable about the fact that if you try to deal with some hardest obstacles in your way, then basically though, you really don't want to able to let your slippery traction just get to you. So either way though, yeah, because chances are though that you might able to experience some of those quite a few death situations every once in a while for specific mistakes, as well as the forms of, you know, slippery attraction that you might able to come across into. So, yeah, everything else all comes together for the most part. So, anyway, so let's go ahead and take down this Mega Goomba right here, so that, you know, we're able to get the key, of course. So, and I think, relatively speaking, though, is the fact that, well, as you probably already know, that basically we start the actual adventure off by you know what I mean, having no start bits at all, because like I said before, we don't start the game off as in the Star Festival, unlike in the forms of how it does it on the Mario's playthrough, that you do start the game off as in a Star Festival and stuff like that. So, yeah, relatively speaking though, is the fact that, well, in addition to able to actually going for 120 power stars again, I'm also going to be able to try to speed things up a little bit. So just in case that you might already recognize most of those, you know, missions, locations, and all that stuff though. So I will try my best if I was going to able to try to speed things up a notch. So either way though, because chances are, yeah, you get the idea about that. So... And also, fundamentally speaking though, is the fact that, well, at this point in time is the fact that we pretty much almost gone to a point that we've almost at the forms of the fourth quarter, for the sake of the forms of 2022. Because, like I said before, this is the final day of not only September, but also the third quarter of this year so far, which, as far as September goes, is actually alright. Like, despite the fact that there's not much else releases here and there, aside from that one major release for that particular month so far, which is of course Splatoon 3. So either way though, that hopefully October should be a little bit more interesting to say the least, because like I said before, Mario Plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope is going to be releasing, along with the forms of Bayonetta 3 as well, and as a result of that kind of stuff though, I'm actually really looking forward to it, so once again, we're trying to able to restore the Comet Observatory by, you know, keep on collecting more Grand Stars. I mean, generally speaking, it's exactly the same playthrough as Mario's, except you play as Luigi this time. So, yeah, it's nothing to write to home about, honestly. It's just the fact that, well, it might not bother me at all, though, if we're able to actually doing the entire game again, but with Luigi this time. I can totally see why, about the fact that, from what I've seen, several speedrunners of this game, that basically they're always trying to save up the Luigi's playthrough as opposed to Mario's playthrough, because obviously about the fact that you're able to actually just get the actual game progression a bit more faster and quicker, because obviously, like I said, you don't start the game off as in, you know, the grand opening of the Star Festival, completely filled to the brim with the unskippable cutscenes with all that. You know, Mushroom Kingdom is in a massive chaos, as well as the forms of that massive UFO just trying to able to steal Peach's castle, because it just cuts straight to the point. So it looks like that, yeah, you get the idea. We still need to get the star power to restore, you know, the Comet Observatory, including, you know what I mean, the Grand Star itself. So... And actually, something's worth mentioning for actually, though, is the fact that I was originally going to be able to try to describe about the forms of the new stuff that's been happening for the sake of the forms of Mario Kart Tour, but I think I should probably save that conversation until specifically next Monday of any sorts, because, well, as far as we already know about the fact that, well, we're almost there to October, in this case the Halloween month. And also, on top of all that stuff, though, it's just the fact that, well, until by that time, until 27 days' time, that Super Mario Odyssey will be eventually become 5 years old, alongside with the forms of, well, My Little Pony the movie 2017 version, and as a result, that film is going to be 5 years old as well. So I think it's going to be roughly about 6 days' time now. So because of this, though, well, specifically in North America, whilst we didn't get it until the 20th of October. So, relatively speaking, I think I should probably discuss more details about the forms of Mario Plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope until that game usually comes out. So... because, yeah, you get the idea about the forms of how to factor with my first impressions on certain games as far as I've played it on my own time, and then basically I'll just give you guys some of my thoughts about the forms of the actual games themselves. So, yeah, that basically summarizes as such. So, anyway, so let's go ahead and get started with the forms of the Good Egg Galaxy once again, except this time you play as Luigi. So, either way though, we can get started with the forms of the first mission on this galaxy, such as, of course, Dino Piranha. So, either way though, hopefully we were able to actually beat the actual like out of, well, it's hard to explain because it's been a very long while since I actually did done some of my commentary recently after the events of Wednesday, because after all, that we've pretty much almost completely done with the forms of Mario's playthrough of this entire Super Mario Galaxy game so far. So as a result of that kind of stuff though, about the fact that maybe potentially we can probably able to actually decide able to go for Luigi's playthrough throughout the majority of the forms of October month coming up. Well, mind you, on the first part anyway, that the first part is going to be obviously taking place during the forms of in September, and the majority of any other like parts or segments or anything else like that for its uploading schedules alike, it'll be obviously going to be taking place until like, you know, next month, which should be October in this case. So, and relatively speaking though, is the fact that until by that time, until I would say next month potentially, or should I say 31 days left until Luigi's Mansion 3 will be eventually become 3 years old. Because get it? Luigi's Mansion 3 is now 3 years old until specifically about a month later. So either way though, I still haven't completed the game yet. That's only mainly because I'm still stuck on the specific puzzles and stuff like that, which hopefully I will still get around into it though still. But exponentially speaking though, I still enjoy it, don't get me wrong. But it's just the fact that sometimes it can be very difficult sometimes with all that, you know, tricky puzzles alike. And I do apologize for that barking dogs as far as this is concerned, so I do apologize for that, folks. But hopefully though, I'll make them calm down for a little bit until when I done with this entire recording session. So either way though, yeah, you get the idea about that specific solution. So, and of course, just like always, I will try my best able to grind as many of those star bits as much as I can. Well, despite the fact that I'm actually going to be going for the actual, like, the quickest run if possible. It might not be the true definition of the forms of the quickest run a Moz will do, but I will try my best in certain missions. So, anyway, so we meet up with Dino Piranha again. So, in this case though, I think that this will be our third time trying to deal with the Dino Piranha, whilst the fiery Dino Piranha might count as individual variant or something like that. So anyways, let's go ahead and just keep on shaking until, well, actually gonna think about it, that, you know, since you still have access to pressing the Y button, so motion controls, it should not be an issue this time. So because of that though, yeah, relatively speaking though, there's not much right to home about for the sake of, you know, Luigi's playthrough in general. So because of that though, yeah, I will try my best able to make things a little bit faster for you guys, especially after going through Mario's playthrough that you've seen this already. Despite the fact that, well, relatively speaking, I was able to actually try to explain more details about the forms of, you know, gaming news in general, or specifically Mario Kart Tour's case. Well, usually, relatively speaking, that particular game has already become, you know, 3 years old recently. So, oh yeah, gonna think about it also is the fact that, relatively speaking, that, I would say Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games Tokyo 2020 for the Nintendo Switch, at least it wasn't until when it gets to November, that particular game will also be 3 years old as well. So, relatively speaking, no. Oh, and on top of all that stuff though, is the fact that I believe we've only got about almost 2 months time now. Well, actually gonna think about it, well, almost, likely roughly about 3 months or something like that. That basically though, that Super Smash Bros. Ultimate will be eventually become 4 years old. So, gee, time flies, doesn't it? So anyways though, we've already gone past for this little Star Bits tutorial segment, which that was actually super duper quick and everything. Now let's move on to the second mission, which is of course a snack of cosmic proportions. So, obviously, we still need to farm some more of those star bits as much as we can. And of course, we can never forget ourselves the most satisfying aspect about the forms of this mission, which, you know, I've already mentioned about this before, since during the forms have been in Mario's playthrough. Then basically though, I will be able to actually activate that particular shortcut by able to actually ignoring the majority of the forms of those blue star chips, so that way I don't need to able to try to deal with, like, you know, pretty much all the actual, like, you know, slower paced and stuff like that, which I know sounds a little bit critical for saying things like that, because I know for the fact that for first-time players, whoever experienced the game blind, because obviously, since they miss out on Wii days, and as a result of that kind of stuff, though, again, it's hard to explain, because it's been about, you know, 2 days ago since I actually last did my commentary, because after all, to be honest, she's still working on the forms of her, you know, The Legend of Zelda, The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening DX so far, and surprisingly enough, it went actually turned out to be quite well so far. Well, despite the fact that she did come across into a lot of, dangerous situations for, you know, getting cornered by certain enemy encounters, especially noticeable with how the fact that, well, relatively speaking though, it's just the fact that it's just one of those archaic choices and stuff like that, so because of that though, yeah, there's not much else to, like, explain about this for the most part. And, obviously, sense about the fact that, well, as I mentioned this before, ever since on Monday, that, recently Pac-Man, he finishes up completely in terms of Donkey Kong Land 3, so as a result, it's about time that, potentially speaking until tomorrow anyway, for stay tuned for this, Mario Party fans out there. Well, stay tuned until the forms of tomorrow anyway, because, you know, tomorrow is going to be the grand opening for the sake of the forms of the latest installment of the series when it comes to the Mario Party Let's Plays. Yes, Mario Party Superstars. So, yeah, it should be a lot of fun, especially noticeable because, relatively speaking, that hopefully it'll be a much more of an appreciation about the forms of that particular game itself, because obviously it's a much more better version than the forms of how it does it on the 3DS counterpart, because, well, you know what I mean, the 3DS version has a bare amount of content, and thus, with the forms of the Switch equivalent to the Mario Party compilation game, or something like that, well, usually relatively speaking, it has gem-packed with content, you know, with all that online play, along with the forms of 5 boards to start with, and, you know, you get the idea about that. So, yeah, let me know in the comments down below for the question of the day. Are you guys all looking forward to October for the sake of the forms of October 2022? Well, at least as far as I can tell, I'm very excited about this as well. So because of that though, yeah, because hopefully we'll get some more stuff every now and then for, you know, certain game releases during that time. Mind you, about the fact the matter is though, is the fact that unfortunately though, we are most able to realize that, well, again, it's hard to tell because, again, it's been about 2 days ago since I actually last played this, and especially noticeable doing commentary as well. So, I know I keep on, like, doing, like, a bears repeating kind of stuff situation, but either way, though, I just want to get the actual conversations out of the way, so just in case we can able to actually just to go ahead and, well, continue the game as usual. So, and relatively speaking though, is the fact that we're pretty much almost done with the forms of Super Mario 3D All-Stars in its entirety, because obviously afterwards though, then we can pretty much, like I said before, focusing on something else entirely completely different, alongside with the forms of trying out some different genres and stuff like that, something ranging between, you know, entire sports games lineup. Well, technically speaking, that we've already done some of those Mario sports games. I'm counting the forms of Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games series, because obviously those games are, you know what I mean, sports themed gaming stuff, so, because obviously it takes place in the actual, like, Winter Olympics along with the Summer Olympics and stuff like that, so, but I mean with the forms of the actual Mario sports titles, such as for instance with all that, maybe potentially Mario Golf. Well, not every single games, mind you though, because there are some of them I'm not very good at, but either way though, we'll start away and see what happens there, so. Anyway, so let's head back in here and try to take on the forms of the third mission, such as of course King Catalet's battle fleet, so. Yeah, we're going back into its normal color scheme with King Catalet. So, yeah, that begs the question for this point. So, and also as far as I'm aware, oh, I do apologize for that particular airplane sound effect that you might actually hear a little bit. So anyway, so let's go ahead and grab some star bits first and do a glorious triple jump, so that way we can able to skip this entire orange pipe and stuff like that to win through, aside from the fact that you will get lives if you somehow manage to do so. So anyway, so let's go ahead and get some more star bits by, you know, shooting star bits at the actual bubble trapped star bits from this point. So anyway, so another thing I would like to able to mention about this while this is going on, honestly guys, that's pretty much as far as I can talk about. honestly. Although, apart from the fact that, like I said before, I will try my best able to actually just try to mention something related to gaming news and stuff like that in the future, though. To be more specifically with all that, well, potentially speaking, we was able to get another Nintendo 64 game coming on to next month, potentially, for the Switch Online membership services, though, because as far as I'm aware, I'm pretty sure Pac-Man has already mentioned about that. During the likes of the forms of well, you know what I mean, in Wii Party Let's Play, back in during the forms of by the end of, you know what I mean, in July, that, thankfully, though, we're actually getting some more N64 games coming out on the Switch Online membership services, so that'll be, pretty reasonable, despite the fact that, well, sometimes, though, about the fact that they still have not fixed any of those issues that we actually found out, unlike the forms of how it does in the original hardware, so, but every now and then, everything else is now entirely fixable, so because of that, though, everything else seems to be, a little bit stable for the most part. So, mind you, there are a few, graphical glitches here and there, but regardless of such, though, everything else is gonna be, I don't know about you, quite settled down as far as it's usually is concerned. So as you saw right there, we already, obtained the first technical power-up for, you know, Super Luigi Galaxy playthrough. That's, of course, the Rainbow Luigi, where, you know, you get the invincibility, and then, you know, you'll be, pretty much invincible throughout the entire time. Well, aside from the fact that you do have a time limit thing, so... And of course, we can never forget the live stream if you find certain boss fights a little bit difficult to handle, but I have no idea why I keep on utilizing that, but... Because originally, I was trying to able to actually go through, like, the harder challenge by ignoring the actual live stream, but apparently, though, I was a little bit too skeptical for, doing that specific challenge task, but, I just couldn't help it for myself, you know? But, anyways, let's go and, you know what I mean? Keep knocking over that particular, or just knock the actual coconut right back at the forms of King Catalet again. So either way, though, we can pretty much expect they were able to kick his butt, no problem. But anyway, though, let's just go ahead and try to be very careful not to get hit by those blue fireball things, and boom, he's down. Wow. At least we're able to meet up with him again until specifically later on, which, again, if you've seen a Mario's playthrough of the game already, like either the Wii version or the Switch version in this case, then you pretty much know exactly what I'm about to say, so far so good anyway though, no deaths on it so far. Well, it wasn't until whenever we get to the later levels that we will come across into several deaths, so... But, you know, that's as far as, you know, trial and errors is concerned, but either way, we'll just save our game here. And supposedly, we can able to move on now into the next galaxy, which is, of course, Honey Hive Galaxy. So, let's see how this goes, though, hey? And speaking of which, though, we have a different missions name, such as B. Luigi Takes Flight. Because obviously we're no longer going to be taking control of Mario, at least not anytime soon, so, because relatively speaking though, that as far as we already, noticing this already, especially noticeable if you ever looked up on our Let's Play of the original Wii version of this game, to be more specifically Super Mario Galaxy, as far as what Piglet has already tackled through back in, I can't believe it's been about 3 years ago, kind of think about it, since we actually last did Super Mario Galaxy, along with Super Mario Galaxy 2. Mind you, about the fact the matter is though, I still can't even believe it's been about 3 years ago since we've actually last, you know, not only just trying to able to last play Super Mario Galaxy 2, but to be more specifically, just trying to deal with the final, bit, for the sake of the forms of Galaxy 2, right at the same time as when, you know, My Little Pony Friendship is Magic finale does exist. Well, usually between the forms of the ending to the end, both part 1 and 2, along with the last problem, 3 episodes or 3-episode finale in the exact same combo, with all that, you know, release dates in mind on 12th of October and stuff like that. And relatively speaking, though, it's just the fact that, well, kind of believe that between those two of one of my favorite things in general, like, you know, my absolute favorite game of all time, Super Mario Galaxy 2, in terms of Let's Play and stuff like that, has to end this way, which is kind of sad, honestly, because I always enjoyed the game so much. Especially notable because I was really hoping on the Switch ports will exist, but either way though, unfortunately it doesn't happen, so it kind of sucks, honestly. But it's always able to look back on it though, and always have a lot of, like, good old memories and stuff like that, so... Anyway, so let's go ahead and, you know, fly through certain, you know, over pits and stuff like that, as well as trying to climb onto the sticky honey, so we can, you know what I mean, just try to able to climb through, as per always. And hopefully meet up with the forms of Honey Queen again, so, relatively speaking, we can able to just obtain some more star chips, and, also just, you know, grab some more star bits in general, too. So, yeah, anyway, and another thing I would like to probably try to mention about this as well, that, I kind of believe it's been about almost 10 years ago since when New Super Mario Bros. 2 did manage to able to firstly introduce the actual DLC for it's not only for this entirety of New Super Mario Bros. 2, but it's also the first ever Mario game able to feature DLC, such as downloadable content, which it continues that tradition until likely, you know, the Wii U era, along with the majority of the 3DS era, and every now and then, the Nintendo Switch era. Well, despite the fact that, unfortunately though, you can no longer get, you know, DLC stuff for the sake of, you know, New Super Mario Bros. 2. Although there's actually a technical thing you can able to do by able to make things a little bit more simple and easy to manage until specifically March next year, mind you, because it might be pretty sad as soon as you're able to realize that, you know what I mean, future generations has to come, and I can imagine about the fact that if the next Nintendo Switch, or actually can I think about it, the next Nintendo hardware will be on its way, not for right now, but until specifically in the future, it might eventually try to get rid of the eShop app for the Switch, which it will be pretty scary. Luigi, your name is Luigi, isn't it? So, yeah, she now actually says Luigi's name as opposed to Mario's name, so, yeah, that's a little bit different as far as this is concerned. Now, of course, just like it informs of how it does it on the Wii version of Super Mario Galaxy, if you talk to male Toad, basically though is the fact that if you manage able to open up the letter, he accidentally puts in Mario's name, but eventually though is the fact that, relatively speaking, that it actually gives you a different reward, such as for instance that rather than giving you 5 lives, instead you're able to get 20 lives. So that would be pretty cool though, especially noticeable if you're having a hard time with the Luigi's playthrough so far, then you pretty much get the idea about this specific solution's worth noting for, so... Anyway, trouble on the tower, so we can able to get this started. I think, relatively speaking, we can probably able to actually guarantee we can able to actually just decide able to finish up with, well, let's just say the first 3 missions. Well, we've already done the first 3 missions in, Good Egg Galaxy, so I can imagine if I'm also able to do even more missions for the sake of the forms of Luigi's playthrough, because like I said before, since then I'm still the YouTube partnership, and as a result of that kind of stuff though, hopefully I can able to make things a little bit more faster and quick rather than slow and all that stuff, because as far as I can usually tell, that's relatively speaking though, it's just the fact that there's not much else I can explain about this. And also I really love pulling off that shortcut right there because, well, I just seriously love doing that, along with this as well. Mind you, about the fact that it's on the purple coin challenge mission, that I have to able to ground pound that particular ground pound mark because obviously certain purple coins is being sealed up on that particular segment, so yeah, something I need to able to just look out for. Well, I'm sure I already know about that because, you know, we already experienced that already, likely also 3 times so far for the sake of the forms of our channel, so yeah, that might be seems totally obvious for the sake of time. So anyways, let's get rid of those wigglers here to obtain even more star bits from this point. So anyway, let's just go ahead and go through here, obtain the actual rainbow star in the process to make things invincible for ourselves, and just go all the way down to grab the, you know, more star bits in general, and hopefully we were able to complete the mission as fast as we humanly possible. So, and yeah, you instantly managed able to kill that little bug-like enemy from almost instant if you managed able to use the Rainbow Star power-up. So, yeah, that seems totally obvious. Oh, and also another thing I would like to mention about this as well, speaking of Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games series, that I can't even believe, well, not right now anyway though, but until next month potentially, that Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games, and not only for the Nintendo DS and Wii, that relatively speaking though, I think that's, as far as versions are concerned, I think that they only have 2 versions. Or maybe I keep thinking about the actual other Olympic Games franchises that you usually play as human counterparts of themselves, likely for, you know, what Sega just somehow released it on. That's basically though, yeah, Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Winter Games on the Wii and DS, that I can't even believe that those 2 versions combined will be eventually become, I would say, 13 years old during that time, along with New Super Mario Bros. Wii until November. Seriously, there's gonna be a lot of anniversaries. I keep on mentioning about that stuff with all that game releases back in the day, and eventually next year we're able to actually get even more anniversaries to come. To be more specifically, I would say Bomberman's 40th anniversary for the sake of the films of the release to go alongside with the release of Super Bomberman R2 for multiple platforms and stuff like that. And also on top of all that stuff though, hopefully for next year we will definitely going to be seeing the Year of Luigi kind of thing during at some point next year, because obviously they already done the Year of Luigi before, since in New Forms of in 2013, where they actually have a lot of Luigi related things has been announced, such as of course Luigi's Mansion 2, aka Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, and also on top of all that stuff though, Dr. Luigi, the DLC for New Super Mario Bros. U, which turns out to be New Super Luigi U. Not only does it get its digital release, but it's also with the forms of the physical form as well, which I still got. Just in case about the fact that if the Wii U eShop is eventually going to be dead, so... And of course, you can no longer, well, imagine if this, right, that if eventually when it gets to a point until 2023, if those who people who ever first owned the Wii U back then, and then basically though, that if you are too late able to get New Super Luigi U digitally, so that means you can no longer do the actual, the transition between, you know, the actual skies, all the way up to the rainbow onto this main menu screen. But you can still do that on the Switch version of the game, so at least that's that. But, yeah, it's a good thing I still managed to go New Super Luigi U physically, though, it turns out, so... Alright, so here we go with Boom again, so, but this time around, though, I'm playing as Luigi, of course, so I'm really hoping I can kill him faster, and sadly, that doesn't seem the case, because I still have no idea how I supposed to able to try to ground pound him, assuming if he decides to able to actually just do like a side flight and stuff like that. But either way though, we already just managed to kick his butt. No problem. And in a quicker fashion way too, so either way though, I think potentially I was able to do maybe quite a few missions as well, but it's all depending on the forms of the time length. That's the only thing I would classify for noticing this, because despite the fact that on the Mario's playthrough sometimes, on, let's just say towards the end of the game, to be more specifically in Mario's playthrough, that basically does the fact that we've almost reached into an hour time length mark. Well, mind you though, thankfully though, for the majority of any other episodes in the past, or any other parts for that matter, that basically though, I somehow managed able to complete certain missions within a quickest way, if possible. But, we'll just see what happens in Luigi's playthrough for the majority of everything, so... Alright, Loop-de-Loop Galaxy in Surfing 101. So we go back onto the forms of the Manta Ray surfing style. Oh yeah, I just realized is the fact that, well, you still need to go for the forms of the control tutorial stuff again, so I wasn't too much of a surprise for this point. Although, unlike in Galaxy 2 though, that you will come across into tutorial stuff at least once. And that's pretty much about it when it comes to like tutorial based stuff. Maybe because I'm used to it with Galaxy 2 a little bit more. Well, that's only mainly because the actual process is a lot faster, so... Although don't get me wrong, I don't mind about it too much though. But anyways, let's go ahead and tilt our, you know, my right Joy-Con to the right, so just in case we were able to actually make things a little bit more manageable. Or, to be more specifically, I'm still pretty much going to be using the Switch Pro controller because, god damn, it's so comfortable to hold. And, yeah, that's just basically as far as I can talk about for the forms of today's discussion for you guys. So, anyways, let's go ahead and begin this first manta ray race again. So, except, you know, play as Luigi, of course. Oh yeah, I should probably also mention about this, I think anyway, that, I was gonna try and think about something, but of course I somehow got myself sidetracked for a moment ago, because, well, again, since about the fact that, well, you know what I mean about the fact that September is actually alright for this month so far. Well, mind you, about the fact the matter is though, it's just the fact that, well, I would have loved to able to actually mention something new, or something a little bit different for that matter, but honestly guys, I think I'm pretty much running out of ideas for able to mention something like this, so... Anyway, so let's go ahead and grab some coins, potentially, even though, mind you, I haven't exactly reached for about 50, coins so far, but oh well, no big deal. No big dealio, but at least that's something I would like to try to desperately want to try out, but, unfortunately I didn't get the chance. But oh well, but at least we can able to obtain the actual Power Star and stuff like that. I don't think it's possible I can probably able to actually make it to, Mega Leg's, moon mission anytime soon for the sake of the forms of this part. Well, we will definitely try. We will definitely try as much as I possibly can, but, honestly, that's not much else I can honestly try to explain about, so... Again, I do apologize if my commentary gets a little bit bare bones, a little bit. That's only mainly because, well, that's as far as I can try to say about this. And of course, like always, we've managed to able to actually access to the boss planet here and there, but we're not going to go there just yet, because, you know, we're going to be going for those planets in a chronological order, so flip switch galaxy as it goes. Oh, and also another thing is that much like in the original Wii version of the game, that basically does the fact that if you go into the forms of the cosmic races and stuff like that, you noticed about the fact that the difficulty will start to ramp up for, you know what I mean, with the cosmic races and stuff like that. At least as far as I can tell, because unlike in a Mario's playthrough, that it's pretty simple when you get the hang of it though. Well, the only time exception though, that it might give any people sort of trouble at all, is the forms of the, well, let's just say, Freeze Flame one, just because about the fact that you have to put up with the forms of a lot of emphasis on ice skating. So as a result of that kind of stuff though, yeah, it will get harder though, trust me, especially noticeable whenever it gets to the point where, I believe in Cosmic Mario that he moves a little bit more slower, and also he doesn't do that much long jumps, whilst compared to Cosmic Luigi, whatever we bump into later, basically though is the fact that he will run a lot faster and also do continuous amounts of long jumps, and also on top of all that stuff though, he will do occasional shortcuts, so that might be something worth noting for to watch out for. But regardless of such though, I might still find this to be a piece of cake to deal with, so... Anyway, so before we deal with the forms of the last planet, for the sake of the forms of, well, the Terrace Dome, we need to take care of the forms of the Hungry Luma stage first, so good thing we've actually got enough star bits for this point, so just in case we will definitely gonna have to deal with the forms of Rocky Road again. Sweet, sweet galaxy indeed. So we can pretty much guarantee that we will hopefully try to get some more star bits here and there. So, but hopefully in the quickest run if I can, but still. so far so good when it comes to lives amounts that we've actually got. We've got about roughly 21 lives so far. So, yeah, things all comes together, doesn't it? So, alright, so let's just go ahead and try to dodge a lot of those, you know, the different shaped holes, and make sure we don't fell into one of them. So, oh jeez, almost messed things up with my jumps there. But, hey, at least I somehow made it to that point, so... Oh my god. Okay. Oh no! Ah, I fell for that like a house or an arrow hole. Well, speaking of deaths, here's the first one, so... I wasn't really too surprised for this point, at this point, because on Mario's playthrough I did this no problem, but for some reason I just almost feels a bit careless, so... Oh well, no big deal. But it's not the end of the world, honestly, so I'll just keep trying anyway, so... And then thus I just realized about the fact that it sends me back all the way to the beginning of the level, so... Yeah, I wasn't really surprised about that either, so... Looks like someone is playing Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, speaking of which, so... Yeah, that seems totally obvious there. Alright, so we now made it to this last point, so hopefully we won't fall off again. For some reason, I keep on activating those backflip jumps for some reason, which I have no idea why I say things weirdly enough though, because I was expecting to try to pull off long jumps as opposed to backflips, but anyway, we've made it to the end, finally, despite the fact that I somehow got my first death so far in Luigi's playthrough, so... Again, it didn't bother me at all, though, personally, but, trust me, there are a few times that you will come across into trial and error situations if you come across into accidental things like that happen, so... Anyway, so we got 10 power stars so far, which is great, especially noticeable for this first run, or this first part, on the Super Luigi Galaxy so far. So anyway, we got the endings off this point right here, so join me next time for more of Let's Play of Super Luigi Galaxy and Super Mario 3D All-Stars, is that we'll keep on collecting more power stars and receive the second Grand Star. So I'll see you guys on Monday. Later, fellas.